Well, hello, hello. Hey, it's Linda Anderson here from Linda Lou Creates. Thanks so much for joining me. I think I have my space cleaned up enough that I could actually do my live. Yeah, it was pretty messy. So I'm happy to now be able to come to you with a little bit of elbow room. Hey, tonight I just wanted to do some backgrounds using the Tidings and Trimmings set, the stamp set, and come here, the bundle, actually, because that includes these dies then too. So I'm actually making two cards. I'm sharing one, and the other one I didn't make the actual card. I'm inspired by another card I made, so it's truly going to be a live experience. So anyway, yeah, let me just show you the supplies then that you're going to need with this one. So I have a card base that is Evening Evergreen, and so that means then it is 8.5, 5.5, and I have a couple pieces here. This is for the inside. I stamped the sentiment in Evening Evergreen. The star that you see that's stamped over top was stamped in Soft Succulent. I stamped it off onto some scrap paper and then brought it over and stamped it over the sentiment, that second generation stamping. So that's going to be my inside, 5.25 by 4. On the outside, I have a piece of Soft Succulent that I'm going to be stamping on to create the background. This too is 5.25 by 4. And then I have, I just thought I would grab something different, and I got a piece of crumb cake. And this is just 1/8 of an inch bigger, so that means it's 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. All right, so here's my sentiment. I just cut it out. I don't often give you the dimensions for sentiments because I figured, you know, if you're using a different sentiment, then, you know, your dimensions are going to be based on your sentiment. So let me go ahead. I didn't realize I didn't get this put in. Usually I like to try and have some things already done ahead of time so that it doesn't take me too long. But this won't take long. So how's everybody's weekend going? I have a crazy week coming up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm not at the same time. So now, as far as the background goes, let me bring this in. I'm just going to get a piece of scrap paper here. And I just grabbed a couple of stamps then from that Tidings and Trimmings. Tidings and Trimmings. I don't know why I can't remember which one comes first. So I'm just going to do tone on tone. So it's all going to be in Soft Succulent ink. Now, I have, let me get myself arranged here, the star, which is what I'm going to call my large piece, or my large image. So I always start with the large one. So I kind of stamp my large one kind of in the middle. Not exactly. Kind of. Then I'm going to go on either side of it. I always make sure I stamp off of the edge of the cardstock. Now, if I were to go and stamp this again, there would be a harsh edge. Let me show you. So keep that in mind anytime you have stamped off the edge with a stamp, that you don't want to then come back and go back on your project again. So ask me how I have found that out. So all right, so there we go. We can always come back to it, but I'll put, you know, 3, 4, 5 of the large images. Next will be my medium one, which is going to be this little berry sprig, and again in the Soft Succulent. And honestly, there is no rhyme or reason then after this. Once I get those large ones laid down, I just kind of go for it. because you can always come back into it. Now notice how I am rotating my cardstock around. You want to make sure that you do that because you want it to be very random how it looks. So no pattern to this. All right, again, I will keep that available if need be. I have a third image here. I'm getting a little bit smaller. So now I can start filling in. I can make sure that I am stamping it off the edge. And again, that I'm rotating my paper around. Now don't feel like you have to fill it all up here, because you're going to keep in mind you have one more image, and that is your small one. Now this one just happens to be the star, so let's just get that put on and fill in wherever you need that to go. You can't, well, you probably could do too many, but usually the small ones, you can fit them in wherever you need to. I'm gonna wipe this. I'm getting some ink on the edge of my block, so let me wipe that real quick. So I just kind of go around a couple times. Now, let me come back and take a look. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. I might fill in a little bit more here. You know, go with what you think looks best. Remember, yes, less is more. So maybe do one or two more and then be like, step back and take a look. Now, I feel like I don't have any stars up in this area, so I'm going to pop one in there. You know what? I almost said I'm going to call it end, but not yet. So, okay, now I am. I'm happy with that. But if you had an area that you wanted to add another of the sprigs or any of these sort of like medium images, you certainly can. If you're like, oh, I don't want to overwhelm it with those little stars, that is perfectly fine. So let me just get my ink pad closed. I sliced my thumb, and it's hard to open and close my ink pads with that sore thumb. So, all right, next I want to use some of this Evening Evergreen, the chevron weave ribbon. Now I'm just going to cut a chunk of it, and let me just say there. Now here's something next I'm going to do. I am going to kind of where it's, you can see where the threads are kind of sewn, well, the ends of the ribbon, I don't know how to describe it, but I'm going to cut this off because I want to pull some of the threads and fringe it, fray it, whatever I want to say. So I'm cutting off this little binding, this the edge that is keeping all of the threads together. Okay, so just a little bit there. And now the fun begins, because I am going to start pulling on these threads. Let me see, which side did I cut? Here we go. So now I am just going to start pulling, and look at this. Look at how these all come right off. Okay, look at that cool fringe then that's left behind. I'm not done. I'm going to keep going. I want to take a lot of these off. Couple more, because I really want that fringe. I really like that shaggy look of it. Let me see if I can get one more. There we go. All right. So now I am going to lay my fringed ribbon just right here along the ends. All right. So I am going to just pop on a couple little bits, little dots of my glue. Okay. I'm doing a little too much of the glue. And a little bit more there. Okay, I think I got it. Let me bring this back. And it does not matter where you put it. If I could get a hold of it, I would put it down. There we go. And down it goes. Okay. Now you might need to get your scissors out and give it a bit of a trim. Some of the threads may have gotten a little too shaggy. So let me do that. Just trim it up a little bit. And it might be hard to tell on camera, but boy, is that fun seeing that fringe on there. So, all right, time to finish putting this card together. There isn't much left. So let's get this piece down to the crumb cake. Meanwhile, I am looking for my gems, my jewels. Oh, see, I went and I cleaned up so much. Oh, there they are. Okay. Whew. That's always the case, I tell you. Well, I'm just proud of myself that it wasn't 5 minutes before I was to go live that I was finishing up the last card. So I actually had these done early this morning. So yeah, I don't know, man, I do better, I think, whenever I make it last minute. So, all right, let's get this put down. Don't worry. Something that needs popped up with all the dimensionals is coming. It's actually going to be the sentiment. So here we go. Right down to the card base. And now the sentiment. And let me get my dimensionals. Let's just put it right along the edge of the soft succulent. There we go. Now, because I found them, I am going to use my jewels. And let's see. Maybe I'll go with the soft succulent ones. No, let's go. This one has the evening evergreen. I think I am going to try the soft succulent ones this time. So let's just go ahead and put these down. Sometimes I just plop them down, no rhyme or reason, which is kind of the way this one looks, right? But there it is. You've created your own background, made it look really super cool, added some fringe, so some texture there. So can you believe it? Not a bit of pattern paper. So, all right, let me go on and show you the second card. The second card I was inspired by our weekly challenge. We do a challenge every week. My fellow demonstrators, we have one with my upline, and she has a group, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. We do them every week. So this one, we had to do a couple things, and I created this card. We had to make our own background. Excuse me, we had to use regal colors. So therefore, that's why I ended up thinking of autumn. This is actually a new stamp set and dies. The dies actually are what I used here. Intricate leaves is what this is called. Oh, and it had to be a vertical card. So guess what? I got to use my favorite top folding. So this is the card I created for that. I'm like, I want to do the same thing and show you guys how I did this one, but I am going to do it with the Christmas trimmings dies instead. So some of the dies I pulled out were a little bit more of these I don't know, standalone dies. I don't know how to describe them, but they're the ones, the filler dies that they create then. So like not the stocking, because that kind of coordinates with the stamp, but I did some holly leaves, these 2 stars, these 2 sprigs, the star. So what I did was die cut out of masking paper. And where is it? Here we go. I've already put it down. I have a piece of white cardstock here that is 5 1/4 by 4. Now, these are the masks that I created, or the dies that I cut out of masking paper, I guess I should say. Now, these I can use over and over again, or as long, you know, unless I destroy them. So they are just sticky enough to adhere to my cardstock. And then when I want to remove them, then they're not so sticky that they're going to tear your paper. So I am masking off. So when I sponge over this, what is underneath with these dies and this masking paper is going to remain white. Otherwise, you'll see all of the colors then that I've added around it. So I just want to, yeah, I cut a bunch. And I've got some cat hair in it. All you pet owners know what I'm talking about there. So some I just, you know, I cut and filled in. So the idea was I went with my larger images first, which were these stars. And then I slowly came down with a little bit smaller, and then the sprigs, the holly leaves, and then I finished with the stars, just like I did stamping, but this time using the masks then instead. So let me I like to do it from this side so that I don't rip anything, but I really want to burnish it down, make sure that those things are all nice and stuck down. All right. So there it is. Even these ones that are hanging off, I'm okay with that, you know. They can hang off if that bothers me. Some of the sprigs, what I did was just cut off like a little bit of them to use to cover some spots that I needed covered. So, all right. So I have the Fresh Freesia. That is the top folding card. Then I have, it's 11 by 4 1/4. Inside is my 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of white. Did the same thing where I stamped in the Evening Evergreen, but this time I stamped the star in Fresh Freesia, stamped it off, and then stamped it over my sentiment. This is Smoky Slate. I'm really going with a different color. So you will see my color palette this time is going to be obviously Fresh Freesia, Soft Succulent, and then the Smoky Slate. Thought this would be kind of cool, a little bit different, and I love non-traditional colors for Christmas. So let's get started. So I have my blending brushes. So you can see they are well loved. They have seen ink already. And if they have a little bit, this one might still have a little bit of green left in it, but I'm okay with that. I can certainly, it'll be fine, you know. I'll be honest with you, I don't always wash them. Shame on me, I know. But I try and just use one family color for each brush. All right. I think right now they're low inventory, I believe, right now. But I'll tell you what, they do go out of stock quickly. So if you want some, let me tell you, they are fabulous. Now I want this to be soft. So I will load up my brush, but I will tap it off. All right. I want to use as little ink as possible. Now I'm going to come through here and decide, okay, I'm going to start in this corner. And notice I go in a circular motion and I go in both directions, okay? So that way I fit inside all of these little nooks and crannies. Sometimes I'll even hold on to the brush part itself. I am kind of heavy-handed when it comes to sponging, so yeah. I don't want to be spending all my time blending and stuff. I want to hurry up and get the ink down and be done. I told you I'm lazy. So let me get this so I can move things around. So because I have 3 colors, I'm going to just kind of, let's go around here. I can always come back with more ink if I have to. I did not tap off, so I did get a little bit heavy here, but we'll see if we can blend that out. So don't worry about that. All right. So I feel like I just need a little bit more down here. There we go. Okay. Now let me move on to the next color that I want to do, and that's going to be the Smoky Slate. Where's my brush? There it is. So I find that if I hold my finger here, that I put more pressure on the brush. You can see how it's like a flexible head. So if you put your finger, then you're really going to have it pushed down onto the paper. If you don't push and you're just holding on to the handle, it's going to be a softer type of application, I guess, of the ink. For some reason, I like to hold on to the head of the brush, and I find that if I do put my finger on it here, that I have more control. All right, so let's just tap a little bit off, and let's try and get a little bit of the Smoky Slate down here. Brush is getting a little more loaded up, so I'm getting a little bit heavier, and I might not have wanted it that dark, but I'm okay with it. It's going to look like an absolute mess right now, but we will take care of that. Okay. Oops, I want to make sure that doesn't lift up. Some of this is, so let's just make sure that that stays stuck down. I'll kind of avoid that area because that little skinny stem is starting to creep up and off of the cardstock. So okay, this is coming out darker than I had in my head. Like I said, I haven't practiced this one yet, so we'll see what we come up with. It is going to be a ta-da moment, though. And you know how I like those. When you start lifting up those masks, you're going to get that, wow, cool, ta-da. So, all right, this is going to be a little dark. So let's just try and start off with a light hand. Like I said, I'm kind of heavy-handed with this. But I'm liking the look of these colors, I gotta say. I find this kind of therapeutic too. I just like to scrub away, getting this ink on. Now, what do you think? I'm going to come around here with some more of the green. All right. Yeah, you got to watch because you're going to get very inky with your fingers. So do be aware of that. Okay, I'm going to come in with a little bit more, I think, of the purple. Yes. Did I just say that? The person who doesn't like purple? Did I just say that I'm going to come in with more purple? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Okay. All right. Now, as you can see, I'm coming in with my inky fingers here. So I am going to work on blending where these colors come together. And very often it's just with what is on your brush. Sometimes you might have to go back and get a little bit more, but I'll be honest with you, I find that if I just go back with what's on my brush, that I can get these colors to blend, that there's not a harsh line then. So let's do that here. And a little bit of the green here. All right. Are you as excited as I am to see what's going to be happening here? I'm don't know. Let me get, maybe just add a little bit more of the Smoky Slate. Do you see where I put my fingers in it? So I have two options. I can either try and blend that out or cut it off. Because right now my cardstock is 5 1/4 by 4, so I can always cut it down, but we'll see once I take everything off. So, all right, let me close up my ink pads and kind of real quickly wipe my fingers, okay? Now, let's see. Here we go. This is the exciting part. Boom. Some of these little ones I won't save, but some of them I might save these to reuse. Oh, how fun. Here we go. Ta-da! Now the die had a little cut out of the leaves. The die itself cut that sort of like vein in those in the paper. So I do see a little bit of a line there. So this is the one I'm anxious to see what it looks like. Oh, how fun. Here's the other one I'm anxious to see. Look at that. See how the white of the card, the base here, stays white because you covered it up, but where you had the masks, then that, oh yeah, I'm almost speechless, and that doesn't happen too often. So there we go. That one I got the line in, and I'm okay with that. I like that. So, but here we go. Yeah, the ta-da moment is the best. All right, let me just start peeling some things off. Sorry, this is the fun part for me, the blending and then the pulling off of the masks. So I do like this part. And you know what? For being a non-traditional Christmas color, I kind of I'm liking it. I'm liking it. So I wanted to be sure and pull the colors that I used of my ink into the card itself. So there it is. How fun. I don't know which way, if I need it this way or this way. I kind of like it this way. All right, let's get to making the card. So let me just move these masks out of the way so I don't end up getting them all over me again. So like I said, this is 5 1/4 by 4. Where I kind of got my fingerprints in there, I'm okay with it there too. So I'm leaving it. I'm gonna leave it. So, and let's get it going here. And I have a mask on my glue. There we go. Okay. Kind of fun. So that was how I made that autumn card. Then same idea. The thing is with those intricate dies, I mean, you got to spend a little time getting them cut out, getting the paper backing off of them, all of that. So and let me tell you, my cat just walked in, so if you hear some crunching, you'll know that it be Mojo. He somehow always gets the door open on me. So okay, now let me get this down to the card base, and then I have somewhere a sentiment. Where did I put it? Here it is. Again, I used that "May Your Days Be Merry and Bright" from the Tidings and Trimmings stamp set. stamped it in the evening evergreen, got a soft succulent, then scallop using the layering circle dies. So wanting to keep it simple because I want to show off the card in the background. So there we go. I think I'm just going to put on a bow that I did with the soft succulent ribbon. Let's see, where do I want it? How about right? Nope, don't like it there. Do I want it down here? Yes, I do. I like it down there better. I'll play with that a little bit. Now let me get some gems. I'm going to use the fresh freesia this time. So I think, let me see if I can add them kind of as if they were the berries. And I think I covered up my other holly leaves. So let's put, let's put one here and one here. Nope, don't like that for sure. I don't like that. How about right there? Okay, so there it is with a beautiful sponged background with some very non-traditional colors. I guess it would help if I put it in screen. So anyway, so let me bring back the other one so that you can see that I don't always use pattern paper, but gosh, I sure do love it. So, but this was a lot of fun here doing the sponging, or the blending rather. So anyway, hey guys, thanks so much for joining me. Merry Christmas in July to all of you. That we only have one more week to go of July. Can you believe that? So anyway, yeah, I think that's all I have for you tonight. So have a great week now, everybody, and I'll see you next Sunday. All right, bye now.